Hello everybody, welcome to a new online guitar lesson, and today I would like to talk about legato. And in particular, I would like to give you 3 exercises to skyrocket literally your legato in 10 minutes. I know it sounds very arrogant, but in this lesson I would like to give you something that can be useful for you to start your legato technique completely from scratch and then improve it with the mechanism, but also the sense of rhythm, the accent, and I will also give you a special etude on my Patreon page. Legato is definitely one of my favorite techniques ever, because also I use it a lot while I'm using the 8-finger stepping, but also my legends like Alan Osworth, for example, or Joe Satriani has been using it a lot. And it's something very peculiar because we don't hear anymore the attack of the pick, but we hear something different that is very similar to a woodwind instrument. But as usual, before starting this lesson, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also you will find, as usual, the tabs, the descriptions, the diagrams and everything related to this lesson on my Patreon page, as well as a legato, as a new legato etude that I wrote only for my patrons that will improve your technique. So, nothing else to say, let's start. So while legato is such a good and cool technique, legato is something that allows us to go from one note to another one, not hearing the sound of the pick. So for example, if I had to move from a C note to D, okay, I can do it with the pick, or I can do it with a simple hammer-on. Okay, the principles behind the legato technique is the hammer-on and the pull-off. Hammer-on and pull-off. Okay, so when we combine those techniques together, we have the legato. So legato is not only just avoiding picking one single note or many notes, it's just a way of thinking. So we have to imagine that we are like floating from a note to another one, but at the same time we are keeping the sense of rhythm. There are 2 different techniques and 2 different approaches to legato. Our first approach can be the kind of John Petrucci, Joe Satriani type of approach, which is mostly described as a pull-off type of legato. So we use the pull-off a lot. That is more similar to the staccato effect. So we tend to move horizontally mostly, and we tend to use a lot the pull-off. Okay. Okay, this is mostly like the type of 80s legato, you know, very similar to, I know, Eddie Van Halen, for example, or yeah, as I said already, Joe Satriani, also Steve Vai used that a lot, uses a lot more like, you know, the trilo type of exercise or type of movements, let's say. You know, it's another form of legato, let's say. And then there is another type of legato, second type of legato, which is the hammer-on legato. That is more similar to Alan Osworth in terms of approach. So the idea behind this type of legato is that we have to create a unique flow between the notes. So in the second type of legato, I try to minimize as much as possible the impact of the pull-off on the general sound. So I try mostly to concentrate on the flow, and I try to do not give so much strength to the pull-off in general, while it's totally different in the pull-off type of legato, in which we tend to have that kind of, you know, squeaky, high frequency sound that is, you know, very peculiar, especially if you are playing in rock. Okay, so if you want to listen this type of legato, you should definitely go to listen, for example, to Paul Gilbert. He's a master in that, and he mixes it very well also with alternate picking. So it's very, very unique. So take a listen. Okay, so when we talk about legato, there are several mistakes that definitely we want to avoid, because we want to make it sound as best as possible. So the first overall mistake is not being relaxed. It's something that I keep on repeating over and over during my lessons, but relax is key. So please, whenever you approach this type of technique, you have to be very relaxed with your shoulders, with your forearms and your hands. Also, be very careful that, especially using this type of position, the position that I am having right now with my guitar, is not very healthy sometimes. We have to try to have our wrist and our forearm and our wrist with an unique only one line, let's say. We don't have to break it into this, because when we put the hand in this position like that, we tend to overstress the tendons that are here. So we don't want to do that. We have to find as much as possible a position that can be relaxed for our hand. So I strongly suggest you to, you know, have all the time this kind of position and touching the strings like you can see right now. So imagine that every one of your fingers is like a little hammer, and you are basically hammering each note to obtain a legato sound. Another general mistake that I see with my students is the advice, let's say, to raise too much the fingers. So you don't really need it. Okay, whenever you're playing legato, you don't need to do this. You don't need to do it in general, but especially when you're playing legato, of course you have to put in some strength, but at the same time you definitely don't want to raise too much the fingers. So legato is also linked to the concept of economy of movement. We have to economize as much as possible the movement of the left hand, also the right hand, of course, and also we have to do it to favorite as much as possible the relax. So try to concentrate on very small movements. You don't need to charge too much and to raise the fingers over the fretboard too much. You can stay close by, but at the same time try to focus mostly on the point of the fingers and try to aim to each fret, you know, with the necessary amount of strength, but you don't have to be overstressed. Another general mistake that I see during legato playing in my students is the habit, the very bad habit to go very well with the hammer-on, but then do a pull-off that is like a little bit weak, like. Okay, now I have like tones of distortion, but especially if I have the clean sound here, it's not gonna sound well at all. The second note will be like a little bit lower in volume. So we have to imagine that whenever we have a pull-off, we have to like push a little bit the string outside. So it's not a movement that just raises and goes up, you know, like goes down and goes up, but is a movement that tends to push towards the external part of the fret. So hammer on, hammering, and then pull off is just, you know, pushing outside of the fretboard a little bit more close to my hand. So if you do just down, up, it's sounding well right now because I have the distortion, but definitely with the clean sound is not gonna sound well. So every hammer-on pull-off is more this type of movement, okay? So be very careful to this detail. Another mistake is linked to the sound. We have to be very sure that every note comes out with a unique sound. So we have to be sure that every note sounds at the same volume, okay? In order to do that, we have to be still focused on the flow, and we have to be as relaxed as possible. And the last mistake is related to the accent, because most of guitar players think that if they play legato, they can float over tempo. This is a big mistake. Even if you are playing legato, you have to be able to give proper accents. And I will suggest you then an exercise that is based on that. So you have to think of legato in terms of written figures. This means that also with legato I can have 4 triplets, okay, the 1, 2, 3, 4 is very clear. I can have the triplets, goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, etc., etc. So we have to be very aware of the fact that we have to put those written figures on the tempo, otherwise it's gonna sound quite strange, I would say. Okay guys, so the first exercise that I would like to give you is very simple. It's a combination of the different type of figures that you will find on the major scales. This means 1, 2, 4. Okay, so it's all about 1, 2, 4, 4, 2, 1. And then we have 1, 3, 4, 4, 3, 1. Okay, and then we have 1, 2, 4 with the stretching, so you have to keep in mind that there is one semitone here and one semitone here, so we have 1, 2, 4, 4, 2, 1. So now let's try this simple exercise over a written pattern. So that's all for today, folks. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also if you like this video, please don't forget to leave me a big thumb up. And also I left on my Patreon page a special exercise that is suitable both for beginners to intermediate that want to apply legato and legato lines also over different scales. So don't miss it, and just follow the link down below, and I will see you the next week for another lesson.